And let's talk about Savinho, because Fabrizio Romano says that there is someone very important blocking Savinho's move to Tottenham. Savinho is keen but does not want to damage his relationship with Manchester City. Miguel Delaney says that Man City wants 60 million to let Savinho go and Tottenham are unwilling to match that. Paul O'Keefe says there's actually differing opinions at City as to whether they should sell Savinho. The move is not entirely dead, but seems unlikely without a huge offer. Pep would sell him. It's not him blocking it. It's Ferran Soriano, who is the Man City's CEO. And he also went on to say that Rodrigo has told Madrid that he's going to be staying for the current season. And yeah, so that is the Savinho situation. It doesn't seem positive, to be honest. I mean, if their replacement in Rodrigo has told Madrid that he's staying, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest stumbling block of them all.
Yeah, agreed. And I can't see them sanctioning a sell for one of their promising wingers if the only reason they'll sell him is to get Rodrigo. And if Rodrigo's off the table, seems as though this one might be dead in the water. But, you know, they're not saying, and no one's saying yet it's completely off, except for, well, Balaguer did say that yesterday. But we'll have to wait and see. In terms of the very important person, Paul O'Keefe might be, it's Ferran Soriano, but I've got on good authority it's that bloody Mr. Marinakis. That's who's been blocking it. He's always got his fingers in all the pies, doesn't he, Mr. Marinakis?
Yeah, I would say on the Gillian Balaguer update, it's not something I don't trust him, Balaguer, to be honest. I've looked into a few. I saw a few of his reports of Pep Guardiola and Man City over the last couple of years, and he's got quite a bit wrong, to be honest, when it comes to Pep Guardiola news. So, yeah, it's not something I take too much notice of. But what I do take notice of is the updates that I've read out to you in terms of Fabrizio Romano and Paul O'Keefe. I think they're both saying it's pretty, well, at least Paul O'Keefe saying it's unlikely. And Romano is saying that, you know, someone inside Man City is blocking the move. But you never know. If Man City can identify some sort of replacement, and if Spurs do stump up the money, then it brings up that conversation again.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The report saying we don't want to go as high as 60 million.
Yeah.
But I thought we heard about rejected bids. We definitely heard about a 50 million one rejected. We then heard about a second one. It's conflicting about how much that was. But how high are we willing to go? Obviously, this was my point. How high are Tottenham willing to go? I would have thought, you know, 70 maybe not, but 60, I would have hoped they were willing to go as high as 60. But if they're not, then we were never that serious about this.
But I think Spurs are willing to go up to about 60 million. I do believe that. I don't believe that report. I think we've already had a bid of that much rejected. But look, we don't know fully what's going on in the background. Again, like I did say a week ago about the Savinho deal, like I find it unlikely anything's going to happen with Savinho until after we play Man City, and we got them this weekend. So, look, maybe after we play Man City, the dominoes could fall again, and something else could happen, and we might see this progress. But at this moment in time, from what the reliable guys are saying, it seems unlikely. Yeah,
which would obviously be a massive shame. And after, I really thought on the weekend when he was getting left out and Pep definitely looked like he was lying about why he was being left out. And then Savinho was posting these things on Instagram. It seemed like the wheels were really turning on this deal. But at the moment, the current updates don't seem too positive about this one happening. And that is obviously a massive shame. I really hope that something can be sorted, and maybe the disagreements in the boardroom level can be put aside and they end up putting the money up. But again, is it going to take a club record fee to get him to Tottenham? And if it is, are Tottenham prepared to put a club record fee for Savinho? I'm sceptical about where they are. So.
Yeah, and look, Romano says that he doesn't want to kind of break down that relationship with Manchester City, which is completely fair enough, you know, obviously a man of principle. And it all depends, like, how much he actually wants to move. How much does he actually want to move to Tottenham? And if he wants to move to Tottenham that much, then I think this deal actually could happen, because, as we know, Pep Guardiola and Man City don't want to keep players that don't want to be there. There's been plenty of cases of it. So if Savinho is actually, you know, got it in his mind that he wants to move to Tottenham, then I think this is more of a possibility as the window kind of progresses, and after we play Man City, you know, stuff may happen. But yeah, it doesn't seem like he's going to push for it.
I get the feeling like this opportunity arose and he was quite open to it, rather than he's openly pushing for a move to Tottenham. Like, I feel like he would be open to it due to all the circumstances we've talked about, World Cup year, minutes, all of that. But is it a case of he doesn't want to be at Man City, or he wants to be at Tottenham, if you know what I mean? Like, would he force a move? Is he really unhappy and wants to leave? Or is it a case of Tottenham are there, if they agree a deal, I'm open to going? Is that the case?
Like, Man City players don't usually have to force moves, because any sort of inkling, they're like, all right, fine, you can go if you want. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, when has a Man City player ever like actually actively forced a move?
No, but apparently Man City don't really want to sell him.
Yeah.
So if he wants to go, he's going to have to like let them know, like, I don't want to be here, rather than I'm open to a move. Maybe there's a bit of a difference there.
Yeah, but I just feel like even if a player is open to a move away from Man City, they probably would prefer to sell. Like, from Man City's eye, why would someone like Savinho be open to a move to a club like Tottenham? Like, surely that would ring alarm bells in the background of Man City.
Because he's a young player, and he's got all he's like very quick. He's very eager, I should say, to get his career where he wants it to be, and he wants to get that game time up and all these different things. And he wants to be in a position where he's ready for the World Cup. Now, that could be youthful exuberance talking, and this like rush to basically be the main man already. And maybe Man City feel if he does stay, yes, right in the short term, you know, he might feel like it's a bit disappointing because Tottenham could be this place where he gets all the game time and stuff. But if he is good enough to break in the team, and he is good enough to grab that starting spot, then all those thoughts will be behind him. And he's 21. He's still very, very young. He's got a lot of time left on his side. So there should be no rush for him to be kicking up a fuss to leave a place where he could, in my opinion, he could easily be the starting right winger for Man City, like next season in a lot of games. So maybe Man City feel it's just like kind of youthful exuberance kind of talking, rather than someone who's thinking of the best interest of his long-term career.
To be fair, though, it has been heavily rumoured that Bernardo Silva's wanted out for a couple of years.
That's also true.
And he's carried on staying there, and now he's club captain.
Yeah,
so maybe there are cases of it that one just popped into my head just now. But look, at this moment in time, from what we're hearing, it does seem unlikely Savinho will be a Spurs player come the end of the transfer window. You never know what can happen. It's not completely dead, in my opinion. There are still glimmers of hope that we can cling on to. But there is a possible alternative that has been brought to light today, which is he's been linked with us a couple of times over the past few weeks, and he goes by the name of Magnus Akliouche of Monaco. Miguel Delaney says that Tottenham have identified Akliouche as a possible alternative to Savinho. I mean, for me, I love this guy as a player. He's a brilliant player, but he's not the position that we need, in my opinion. I want someone that's going to play off the left. This guy's rarely ever played off the left. He's more of a right. He plays on the right for Monaco. He can play on the inside as well a little bit. I want a kind of out-and-out left winger at my club for the next signing. I think that's what we need. And when you're looking at Akalouch, like if we are to bring him in instead of Savinho, I think probably the outlook of the team is going to be probably a bit different to what we're thinking. Maybe it'll be him on the right, Kudus in the middle, and Eze on the left. Yeah,
it doesn't make too much sense, does it? In terms of being an alternative to Savinho, unless he has a different idea of what the makeup of the team is going to be. Like, in theory, if you're talking about alternatives, he should be an alternative to Eze, not an alternative to Savinho. So when it comes to that, it doesn't make too much sense. But yeah, maybe he wants to play him in the middle and Eze on the left. Basically, I can't see but you can't have him and Eze both in their preferred position, basically. Like, sorry, if you're playing, and Kudus, all three of them. You can't have all three of them all in their preferred position. Someone's going to be a bit, or whether it be Eze on the left, whether it be Akliouche somewhere else, or Kudus put out to the left-hand side. I think, Akliouche is more of like a technical kind of plays a bit like Bernardo Silva, plays on the right, plays in the number 10 kind of position, really good in tight spaces, fantastic left foot. I thought was brilliant in the Champions League last season for Monaco. I'm a big fan of his as well. But it just doesn't make sense as an alternative to Savinho in terms of what Savinho brings and what he brings are two different things. They're not the same. They're not one like for like. They're very different players. So I think he's definitely more similar to an Eze than he would be to a Savinho. So it makes sense for me that he's on our list, but it doesn't make sense for me that he's on our list as alternative to Savinho.
Yeah, unless he does want to persist with Brennan Johnson as a left winger, and you bring him in as a right winger, and you have kind of options like that. I mean, Brennan started on the left a few times in pre-season.
Just scored.
Started on the left, our first game of the season.
And scored.
So is Brennan Johnson now a left winger for us? Is that what he's considered as?
Well, in theory, when you think about Frank's history, he likes his wingers to be inverted. And he wanted Brennan Johnson at Brentford. Was his idea for him at Brentford to be a left winger? Very likely.
Very well could be, yeah.
Yeah, very could have been. Now, since he's come in, he has played, I don't know how many games he started, but I think the majority of games he has started has been on the left. I think he started against Newcastle on the right, which he did score. But I think the other games he has actually started on the left, hasn't he? So, I mean, the evidence is suggesting that maybe he does see Brennan as a left winger, as much as maybe we're not in favour of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very strong case to it. So if we do consider Brendan as a left winger, does it make more sense to bring in an Akliouche? Or maybe Savinho was going to be playing on the right wing?
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe that
does make sense, yeah.
Maybe that is the plan.
And to be fair, look, as much as we're not fans of Brendan on the left, you got to remember he's only done it for Frank a few games. Like, maybe we're being a bit too hasty in our judgment, but I think we've seen him on the left a few times under Ange, and he just hasn't impressed in that position. And I think, if you just think of it logically in terms of his qualities and what he offers, he just never seems quite right on the left. But look, he did score on the left against Burnley, albeit it wasn't a great performance, but he did end up with the goal on the score sheet. And maybe given time, he can develop in that position.
Let's be real. The performance that he had on the left for us first game of the season is still very kind of reminiscent to a lot of the games that he's had on the right for us last season. You know, not getting involved too much, but popping up with a goal. So there's not too much difference there. It's just that on the grand scheme of things, every time we've seen him on the left, he hasn't been great, where he's had a few better performances on the right. Yeah,
I just guess on the difference between him on the left and on the right is on the left when he goes down the line, he literally offers zero. At least on the right, he can whip in a cross or something because he's, he can get there, and he's not got a terrible cross if he can beat his man. So I guess he offers a bit. He offers a bit more on the right on that sense. But maybe again, if given more game time there, maybe we'll see a different side to him.
Yeah, but look, in terms of Magnus Akliouche, unbelievable talent, ball carrying ability, creative. He's a really, really tricky customer. He's one of these guys that's got a bit of magic in his boots, doesn't he? He really does. 23 years of age, stunning season, maybe even a stunning couple of seasons for Monaco. And him as a player, just like isolated, not thinking about any of the tactics or anything like that, I think I'd love to see him at Tottenham. I really would.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no. I would not say no. I think he's fantastic whenever I've seen him play. He's young, 23, so he's got his best years ahead of him as well. I think he's a good alternative to an attacking player that we need. And I would look, if Savinho doesn't work out and that's what they've identified, regardless of what all my reservations are, I think we can make it work, 100%.
Yeah. And I'm sure Eric Dyer has been telling him all the great things about Tottenham Hotspur, them being teammates at this moment in time. Eric Dyer scored on his debut.
Did.
Just like he scored in his debut for us, didn't he?
West Ham.
So, that's the Tottenham news for today. Maybe some more dominoes are going to fall and we'll see what happens. And obviously we'll bring it to you here first on We Are Tottenham TV. But that is all we have for you today. And we're going to bring to you Review the Premier League. First episode of the season.
Super chats.